of our control. So now, as everybody is on board, let's not keep everyone waiting. Let's get started. So first of all, good evening, konnichiwa to everyone. And am I screen visible to you? Hello.
Yes,
I hope my
Abhishek,
screen is
visible. Go ahead.
Okay, fine. So just quick housekeeping rules. Please keep your microphones on mute during the webinar when you are not speaking. Ask your questions during question answer session, and preferably one at a time so that everybody gets opportunity to ask questions. And once you are done, please keep your microphone on mute again. Okay, so in our today's monthly webinar series, we have Consul-General of Japan in Mumbai, Dr. Yasukata Fukahori-san. Dr. Fukahori-san, we are grateful that you have accepted our invitation to address IJBC members and non-members for today's program.
Okay, it's my pleasure.
Thank you. And Fukahori-san will talk today on the topic of diplomatic and economic perspective of Indo-Japan relations, past, present, and future. I'll come back in a minute while I'll be introducing Fukahori-san with more details. That he is probably the best person to speak on this topic. Now, just the agenda we will be covering. I am already greeting you all. And after my greetings, we will have a very quick presentation by our very own President Siddharth Deshmukh. Siddharth-san will be welcoming CG-san and quickly introduce you to IJBC and some of our activities. That will be followed by Fukahori-san's address, and then we will be the floor will be open for everyone to ask questions and interact. Now, with this, I request Siddharth-san to quickly share his introductory remark as well as a little bit about Indo Japan Business Council.
Yeah. Hello. Thank you, Abhishek. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Dr. Yasukata Fukahori-san. We are very glad and honored that you accepted our invitation and you are here. It's my pleasure to welcome you to India and IJBC from Fukuoka, Japan. I am right now in Fukuoka, Japan, and I'll be definitely seeing you soon before before October ends. So when I will return back, so I hope to see you. But thank you very much for today joining in. I will take this opportunity to quickly run through this the presentation about Indo Japan Business Council so that you can also be briefed about our activities and what we do, although my team has already visited you once. So Indo Japan Business Council was established in 2011. Abhishek, next slide. Next. It was established in 2011 with a vision of encouraging the relationship between the people to people of India and Japan, enhancing the business and economic relationship between India and Japan, and branding India as an attractive investment destination for the Japanese corporations. We have these missions to be a one-stop information and consulting and advisory platform for Indian companies for doing business with Japan and vice versa. We are independent platform. That means we are completely a neutral platform. We are not a consultant. We are a not-for-profit organization to help people between India and Japan to promote industrial and business in Japan and vice versa, provide the platform for networking and knowledge sharing, especially to enhance the members' ability to forge ahead in competitive world. We also wish to recognize the different individuals and organizations who contributed to the Indo-Japan relationship, and we time to time recognize them and felicitate them. Next. Some of the activities that we conduct we do such seminars and webinars like this. We do different events. One of our mega event, or we would say annual event, is coming in the month of November, Konnichiwa Pune, and we are very thankful for the consulate support for this event. This has been third year that we will be doing this event. Last year we could not due to the pandemic reasons. We help Japanese industries oriented infrastructure development in India. That means we time to time give advice and talk to the different people about how to develop the infrastructure for Japanese companies who then feel easy to come here. Promoting Indo-Japan trade and business, guidance and assistance to the SMEs on the both sides, and spreading the awareness about the current issues and the latest technology and tools. We do the database creation. Currently, IJBC is doing a database creation of bilingual peoples in India, and we have around 300 bilingual people so far registered with us, and we wish to make it bigger so that the corporates can take help of these people. These are some stats. We have currently 100+ members, include students, individual, corporates, as well as patron and life members. Members are pan-India. We are not a Pune specific organization. We are all India organization. Arranged so far 40+ small and big events. And we brought 4 corporate delegations to Japan and 2 student delegations to Japan in previous years. Our flagship event, Konnichiwa Pune, begins in 2018, and this year also in November we will be doing. We are thankful to all these organizations and agencies who recognize IJBC. Thanks. Next. This is our small executive team, which is right now managing the day-to-day affair of the IJBC. Next. And definitely you can people here can visit IJBC website to check the membership benefits and other details also. So far the road ahead is creating a directory of bilingual experts in India, partnership and between the academia and industry association and government agencies. So we have so far 5 different universities associated with us, and we done MOU with them. Delegation focused on study tours, expert experience Japan and other industry specific delegation. Then we help expatriate commit. We want to establish different expert committees and have advisories in each industry. IJBC chapter for or regional offices all over India, and in near future maybe in Japan also. I think we will skip this. We are already late, Abhishek. So thank you very much. And over to you, Abhishek.
Thank you, Siddharthan. Thanks for introducing IJBC to everyone. Now, I'll take you through a quick brief profile of Dr. Yasukata-san. So, Dr. Yasukata Fukahori-san is acting on various diplomatic assignments for last 40 years. In 1983, he joined the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Japan just after completing his graduate studies in economics from Waseda University. He completed his master's from Chulalongkorn University and PhD in environmental economics from Vietnam National University. He worked with Embassy of Japan in Burma, UK, Thailand, USA, Vietnam, and India. In 2011, he came to India and worked as a consular at the Embassy of Japan. And now in again 2021, he is here and given the responsibility of being a Consul-General of Japan in Mumbai. So now, as I told you earlier, when we went and met him in person, we realized that he has seen India 10 years back. He is seeing India now, and he will be seeing India and Japan relationships, and he will have the visibility of where we are going ahead. So that's why we decided that why not we come up with this his lecture on what we were earlier, what was the relationship and its status earlier, what it is currently, and where we will move. So with this, Fukahori-san, the platform is yours. We are eagerly waiting to hear your thoughts.
Thank you very much, Mr. Charlie, for your kind introduction. And I also thank the kind briefing by Mr. Deshimuk, the president. I understand that IJBC has been doing enormous work for the strengthening the relation between Japan and India. I feel so grateful about your activities. And I once again thank you, Mr. Chowdhury and Mr. Barry, for coming to see me, even under the strict COVID-19 restrictions. At the time, I didn't see many people, and then you are the first ones who came to see me. And then I felt that the strong commitment from your organization in strengthening the relation between the two countries. So responding to your request, I am very glad to accept your invitation to this wonderful. Hi, yes, the wonderful occasion. I'm very glad that I'm able to introduce some of the aspects of the relation between two countries. Now, since that I apologize for being late because I came came in front of my computer about 15 minutes before 4 o'clock. But however, somehow that there was a technical difficulties, which I usually don't experience, but this time something went wrong. So I apologize for keep you waiting. But now I start my seminar. First, that you have already. Can you see the PowerPoint?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so you can see. Okay. Mr. Chowdhury has already introduced me about my personal history, but I would like to highlight that I spent 3 years from 2011 to 2014 as a counselor, political counselor at the embassy, and also Deputy Secretary General at the Asia-Africa Legal Consultative Organization. During that 3 years, I really enormously enjoyed my stay in India. I came to like India very much. So that after I went back from India, I actually went to USA and then went back to Tokyo, and then I requested the office, foreign office, that they need to send me back to India once again because India is such a nice country and important country to Japan. And then this time I was sent back to Mumbai. So I'm really happy here. Now, let me start my presentation. First, I'd like to introduce the recent development between two countries in this century. During the last century, Japan-India relation wasn't very much strong because that of many issues, like India was close to former Soviet Union and then Eastern Bloc and others, and then Japan was involved in our relations with ASEAN countries and China and Northeast Asia. But however, in this century, we have realized that Japan-India relation would be important. So during Mr. Koizumi's time, India-Japan relations has developed a little bit. And then we have evolved our relation from Japan-India Global Partnership to Japan-India Strategic Global Partnership. This Japan-India Strategic Global Partnership was the only partnership which was granted between two countries around that time, between 2006 and 2014. But when Mr. Modi became Prime Minister and our Prime Minister, Mr. Abe became Prime Minister, that relationship evolved into Japan-India Special Strategic and Global Partnership, which is the only partnership described in this manner. Any bilateral under any bilateral relations in the world, so that the Japan-India relation has evolved into the special relations. Then somehow the chemistry between Mr. Abe and Mr. Modi was good. So they decided to visit each other alternately every year. In 2014, both prime ministers visited each other. And then after that, our prime ministers visit each country every year alternately. And then our relations have developed. When our Prime Minister Abe visited, Prime Minister Modi visited Japan, there was a signed agreement between two countries stating intensifying the strategic and global partnership. And then within the same year, when Mr. Abe visited India, two prime ministers agreed on the Tokyo Declaration for Japan-India Special Strategic and Global Partnership. And in December 2015, Japan and India Vision 2025 was agreed between two prime ministers. In 2016, November, a magnificent Japan-India summit meeting that substantially advanced the new era in Japan-India relations. In 2017, visit to India by Prime Minister Abe achieved the another milestone of two countries' relations, stating that the peace and prosperity of the Indo-Pacific region and the world. October 2018 witnessed another important summit meeting, which two ministers agreed on, symbolizing the special and multi-layered partnership between Japan and India. By this manner, Japan and India, mostly based on the two prime ministers' friendship, evolved in new stages every year, so that relations between two countries has deepened significantly during the past 80 years when during the Prime Minister Modi's prime ministership and Mr. Prime Minister Abe's prime ministership. And those are some of the new elements added to the Japan-India relations. In economic side, bilateral swap arrangement, BSA, up to $75 billion. Digital partnership, healthcare, food processing, skills development, startups, disaster risk reduction, and the International Solar Alliance. All those new issues are agreed to be the joint agenda between two countries by the prime ministers. And Japan-India relations evolved not only into the economic sphere, but into political and security areas as well. Particularly, security issue became important between two countries because of the advent of China's military presence in the region. We have practiced many bilateral military exercises. And then we had many security meetings, not only between defense officers, but also foreign officers. So ministerial level 2+2 meetings are held many times, and then joint exercise, maritime cooperation, space cyber collaboration. All those issues took up during the past 80 years. And then one of the most important agenda was to establish a free and open Indo-Pacific. We share the Indo-Pacific vision, which is rule-based order, freedom from freedom of navigation and overflight, peaceful resolution of disputes, and collaboration on projects to enhance strategic connectivity in Indo-Pacific regions, including Sri Lanka, Myanmar, Bangladesh, and Africa. So all those new agenda were included now in the relations between two countries. And
Excuse me. Excuse me.
There is an increase in number of Japanese companies located in India. The number
Excuse me,
is
Fukahori-san.
yes.
Yeah. Will it be possible just to put it on slideshow?
Oh, I see.
That'll be
Okay, I don't know how I can.
Yeah, you on the right hand side below, if you see, there is a small icon
Just a moment.
just
Yeah.
next to the slider. If you come below, yeah, just next to the slider. Yeah, next one, just the next one. Yes.
This one.
Yeah, this one. So
Now, can you see the slide?
no, we can see the slide, but it's still in the small version.
Now is it okay?
It's okay. If this way is also comfortable, that's fine.
Okay. Fine. I'm actually seeing the slide on screen, but
no, it's okay. Please continue, sir.
Really? I'm sorry, but
no, please.
Okay. I don't know. Okay. But anyway, so this is the let me try once again.
You can click F5. If you click F5 on
F5.
the PowerPoint, F5, yes.
Strange, actually.
I think it's okay. We can see it very clearly. No problem.
Okay.
Let's
From my
proceed.
screen, it's actually slide, only slide. Yeah. So that, well, okay, so let me continue.
Yes.
The number of Japanese companies is increasing. Now it's about 1,455. But unfortunately, because of COVID-19, the number has not increased for the past few years. But I believe that this is the increasing trend because the Indian market is healthy and steady. And then everybody considers that the future of the Indian economy is bright. So that the number of Japanese companies are considering locating its production bases in India. Particularly, there's a China Plus One movement taking place nowadays. Many companies are shifting their production bases from China to other countries, particularly in India. So that after COVID-19, I expect a surge of Japanese investment come into India. That is my hope. And then next slide is about ODA loans. As you can see from the, I hope that you can see the slide. Japan is the largest donor to India. 24% of the official assistance from foreign partners came from Japan. And the second bilateral ODA extension is just about 4.2% from Russia. Although there are many international entities like IBRD, ADB, and IDA extending loans to India, but Japan is also the contributor to all those organizations. So that as a whole, Japan's contribution to India's loan will be huge, maybe over 30–40%. But anyway, this is loan, so that India is actually lending money from all those countries, but they need to pay back. So that this is not just an effort by Japan and other foreign countries, but this is effort by India to install infrastructure and other important economic development in India. And then from the viewpoint of Japan, that India used to be the #1 country from Japan in terms of ODA assistance. But in the year 2020, somehow the Bangladesh became #1. India is second, but number is very close to each other. So anyway, that India is almost always top recipient from the viewpoint of Japan. I would like to emphasize that the Japanese ODA is based on the rules of DAC member countries and the OECD, so that our ODA is based on rule of law. And then our aim is to help the people in the recipient countries, so that our ODA is targeted to the people generally. While China is now extending a huge amount of ODA to African countries, but they are extending their support to governments. And then they are charging very high percentage of interest rate, like 12%. While the Japanese ODA loan is about 1%, very low, so that it's sustainable. So the Japanese ODA support is very, very different from that of China. And as you may know, that China extended the support to Sri Lanka for the port project. But however, it seems that the interest rate was very high. Sri Lanka government couldn't pay back the loan. Then that China confiscated the port to his own use. That's happening in this area, but Japan's loan is totally different. It's based on the rule of law under the OECD DAC guidance, so that the interest rate is very low. So there's no worry about loan from Japan, like Chinese loan to Sri Lanka. So this is what we are doing. So in this aspect, the Japan-India economic financial relation is very, very close and important.
Excuse me,
yes,
Yasukata-san, I think, I mean, we are in site 6, but I think discussion went ahead. You may want to the next slide.
Do you see this ODA slide?
No, we are seeing this Japanese companies in India.
Really?
Yeah.
Just a moment.
Sorry for interrupting the flow, but
no, it's okay. I want, since I prepared this presentation, I want you to see this one properly. Well, now somehow, okay.
Yeah, now
okay.
Yeah.
I see, okay. But in this style, what I'm seeing is not actually a slide, it's just a PowerPoint. But somehow.
It's fine. Whatever.
Is it fine? Okay.
Now we can see this.
Yeah. Okay. So this is what I've been talking about for the past 5 minutes about ODA. So now you may be able to see that the Japan's portion is 24.2% from the view from India, and the Russia is only 4.2%, and then other international organizations like IBRD, ADB, IDA. And then from Japanese point of view, that the Bangladesh is now #1 in 2020, but India is second, similar portion. But India used to be #1 all the time. Okay, now I move on to next slide. And what we are doing using those ODA funds to India is increasing connectivity and then interrelation among cities and then states. Because that for the development of entire India, infrastructure connection is very important. So the most important target is to complete this northeast corridor between Delhi and Mumbai. We are installing dedicated flight corridor, west corridor, DFC, for freights, and also Mumbai-Ahmedabad high-speed rail, which is the first Shinkansen between in India. And this will connect between two cities within 2 hours. And also not just eastern part, but we are doing many activities in western side as well. Northeast road network. We are connecting Myanmar, Bangladesh, and India by road, improving and providing road facilities. We are connecting, increasing connectivity among these states. And also in the area, in this area, CBIC, Chennai, Bengaluru Industrial Corridor. This is another corridor connecting two big cities. Of course, these are the initiatives by the Indian government, but we are supporting by extending funds necessary to install all those infrastructure projects. And this area project is called the BIMSTEC, engulfing Sri Lanka, India, Bangladesh, Myanmar, and Nepal. All those states are included in the BIMSTEC initiatives. Now Japan is a part of it. And these are the metro project. You might have seen the metro in New Delhi. When I was in New Delhi 10 years ago, actually, we are installing many metro projects in New Delhi. Luckily that today they were the enormous success. So the Indian people came to understand that the metro project can actually improve the city value, economic value in many ways. So other cities also started looking for the possibility to construct the metros. So in metro area that Japan is supporting 4 metro projects, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 and 4. And in metro, we are installing 1 metro lines. And in metro, in Mumbai, Metro 3 is the project which Japan is supporting. And this is the first underground metro system in Mumbai. Somehow we have a small problem on this project, but we hope that problem will be solved very soon in the near future by the Shiv-Sena government. And also we are installing many other projects in Bengaluru, for example, Bengaluru, Metro 1 and the Metro 4 and Metro 3. Line 2A and Line 2B and 6, 3 lines in Bangalore. And Chennai, Calcutta, all those metro projects were supported by Japan and the Japanese companies. These are the big projects. And high-speed railway project is a very, very important project. This is a flagship project between Japan and India, particularly for Japan. And this is initiated by Prime Minister Modi and Prime Minister Abe, which connect 2 cities within 2 hours. Now it takes about more than 8 hours, 9 hours, but it's going to shorten time for 2 hours. Then it will be able for anybody to go and back between 2 cities within 1 day, which we are doing in Japan between Tokyo and Osaka. Before Shinkansen was installed in Japan, that it was difficult for us to have a meeting in Osaka from Tokyo. But nowadays, many people have a meeting in Osaka and come back to Tokyo within 1 day, which has enormously increased the productivity of companies. So if this happens, that the total business landscape in India will be totally different. And we are alongside, we are installing many projects like the BKC project in Mumbai. BKC is the final station in Mumbai. And then that area, we are considering to install city like Yokohama Minatomirai. If you have been to Yokohama Minatomirai city, it is based on the totally new concept. And then landscape of Minatomirai, Yokohama is completely different from other parts of Japan. It's a new city. What we are planning to install is a city like Minatomirai to BKC. Then at the BKC will be one of the leading city, 21st century leading city in the world. that's what we are trying to do in Mumbai. So we really hope that this project is completed very soon. At this moment, most of the Gujarat part is completed, but there's a land acquisition program in Maharashtra side. This project is stuck for a while. But everything was going well until the Shiv Sena came into power. I'm not complaining to Shiv Sena. Shiv Sena is elected democratically by the people, and what they are doing is I understand it's plausible. And then land acquisition is always very difficult. And then since that this project is mostly started by BJP government, it may be a little bit, there's a little bit of a difficulty under the Shiv Sena, different government, because that not just Shiv Sena. Shiv Sena used to be the party to BJP for many years, but now Maharashtra government is formed by not only Shiv Sena but NCP and Congress coalition. All those political issues democratically make the issue difficult. And then there is not only for Shinkansen project, but also, as you know, Metro 3. And BJP government that we have decided to install a car shed at the RA district. But Shiv Sena government decided to shift the car shed from RA to Kamjunagar. Then there's a dispute at the car shed possible places between state and central government. And there's no way out at this moment, so that we don't know how long it's going to take. But I am sure that this is an important project, and then the importance of those two projects are duly understood by the Shiv Sena government. I have spoken to many people in the government, and they underscore the importance of those projects, so that someday, hopefully at least very soon, the solution will be found. One of the most important challenge between Japan and India is to increase the exchange, expand, promote the exchange of people. For example, that Japanese visitor to India in 2019 is about 236,000, while Japanese visitor to China at the same time is 2.6 million people, more than 10 times larger. That's same for the Indian visitors to Japan. In 2019, it's just 175,000, while the Japan visitor to China was, Chinese visitor to Japan was 9.5 million. And then Indian students studying in Japan is 1,675 only in 2019, while 121,845 students are studying in Japan from China. So this is nearly 1% of the Chinese students in population. And then Indian people learning Japanese is 37,840 in 2019, while over 1 million people are studying in China, studying Japanese in China. So it's the Indians, Japanese learner is only about 3%. So the portion is very, very small. But however, the situation was similar between China and Japan 20 years ago. But that time that we became aware of the Chinese importance, because at that time of China, the military threat wasn't actually very much conspicuous. So we thought that China, we can contain China to develop friendship easily into the future. So that 20 years ago and up to about 10 years ago, Japanese, there was a boom between Japan and China. During that time, I understand also that India formed a bloc called the BRICS, and then China was a dear friend of India during that time. So that China actually expanded friendship and partnership with many countries. So that happened from the first decade in this century. But after that, we became aware that China's ambition, military ambition in the region, especially when we witnessed the Chinese advance into the South China Sea, occupying many islands claimed by Vietnam and Philippines and other countries. They, by military measures, they occupied all those islands and then constructed military bases. That was actually too much for any countries in the region. Then we have shifted our interest from China to other countries. So this is now happening. So that in 10 years from now, I'm sure that those numbers now are very low between Japan and India will expand to the stage which Japan and China is observing at this stage. So now that many people, not just the politicians and then military people, but the economic side of the financial people and then businessmen consider that India is more important than China, definitely. So that this is the change in the movement from China to India, from the view of Japan. But probably it should be the same in India, that the move from China to other countries, including Japan. That is taking place. So this is the future between Japan and India. I show some other slides. I may have taken too much time for the explanation already. But this is the some of the sample pictures from a military cooperation between Japan and India. As I said, that because of the Chinese military presence in the region, the defense cooperation between two countries have become very important. So that there were many joint exercises between two countries took place. Indian Army and the Japan Ground Self-Defense Forces conducted exercise Dharma Guardian in 2019 and Shinju Multi in 2019 between Indian Air Force and the Japan Air Forces and Japan Air Self-Defense Forces. And most important joint exercise held between Navy sector, maritime sector, because of the free and open Indian oceans. Indian Navy, Japan Maritime Self-Defense Forces conducted GMEX, PASEX, then multilateral defense cooperation, not just maritime sector, but including land and air sector. We conducted the Sea Dragon, La Palos, and Malabar. All those military exercises took place between two countries, so that our military cooperation is very much alive, and then came to a very serious stage. And this is the explanation page on free and open in the Pacific. I guess that probably you can read the small letters. I can read, but if you are seeing the small pictures, may not be able to read. But I'm sure that you already understand, have some understanding about free and open in the Pacific. This is to install rule of law in those areas. Economic development and freedom of navigation and rule of law. It will be installed. Of course, that ultimate purpose still contain China. But if China agrees to those principles, rule of law and the freedom of navigation, of course, China can take part in this initiative, but China is refusing to be a part of it. And then, alongside with the free and open in the Pacific, we have installing many other similar corridor projects. As I said, this North-South Indian corridor between New Delhi and Mumbai. But there's a similar corridor projects in ASEAN countries, like from Hanoi to Bangkok, and then also from Cambodia, Ho Chi Minh City to Bangkok, Myanmar. There are two North corridors and South corridors in corridor in ASEAN. Japan is also supporting all those projects. And then there are similar corridor projects in Africa and Madagascar and the Arabian Peninsula. So all those corridor projects put together, we can expand economic activities. And finally, we can expect that all this region can grow together. And then we are even doing project jointly, like in Bangladesh, cross-border connectivity project. Japan build bridges, and then India providing the building roads. Japan has built bridges, and then India built roads along the same segment. And in Myanmar, in Rakhine education project, Japan constructed schools, and then India provided the materials. In Sri Lanka, Japan and India jointly implementing LNG project. And for Maldives, Japan and India jointly implementing a healthcare project. In this case, the hospital is constructed by India, and then Japan is supplying materials to hospital. So that Japan and India are jointly doing projects in other countries. This is kind of a new development observed under Prime Minister Modi and Mr. Abe's leadership. And then we have been working closely together on United Nations Security Council reform. In 2004, 4 countries, Brazil, Germany, India, and Japan formed G4 to succeed in Security Council reform at the United Nations, but it didn't take place. But anyway, that after 2014, 2015, 4 countries have annually having a meeting to upgrade our efforts to reform the United Nations. It may not be able for us to be the permanent member of the Security Council in the near future, but still, it's necessary for us to promote our activities. But now I touch upon a little bit about Maharashtra. I have seen many people, even under COVID-19, and this is a picture of Mr. Chaudhary and Mr. Bali, who came to see me at my residence 2 months ago. This is the number of Japanese companies establishments in Maharashtra. The number is about 800, but this is the number of establishments. If it's a number of companies, it's about 200. So that in India as a whole, as I explained earlier, that it's about 1,400 companies. And then out of 1,400, 200 companies are located in Maharashtra, which is actually very large in number in India. And then in Maharashtra, we are implementing many projects like Mumbai Ahmed Bullet Train, Metro 3, Delhi-Mumbai Industrial Corridor projects, dedicated flight corridor, Mumbai Trans-Harbour Link, which is alleviate the traffic jams in Maharashtra, which is going to make the Maharashtra another infrastructure advanced state in the future. Not only infrastructure side that Japan has been extending the project to Maharashtra, like Python hydroelectric project, Mumbai offshore oil field development project, Thai Vice Shed fertilizer project, Mumbai suburban railways modernization project, development of Port of Mumbai project, Ajanta Ellora conservation project, Ujani hydroelectric projects. All those projects are conducted by JICA. So, sorry, I might have taken a little bit time more than I should have, but I would like to finish my presentation here. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much. Thank you. It was wonderful.
Thank you, Fukahori-san. It was really nice listening to you and looking at different aspects of this relationship. You talked about ODA, the financial assistance part, also defense and diplomatic relationships, both the maritime exercises, other defense exercises, as well as how Japan is supporting us in the UN. So I think all of our members and everyone here are immensely benefited from this discussion. So once again, thank you very much. And before I start with I have some questions. So, but it's probably good to give a first chance to the people who are listening to discussion. So anybody wants to start asking questions? We can start. So meanwhile, by the time other people keep thinking on questions, I have one question for now.
Please.
Is that, you know, a lot of things are going on and a lot of development assistance, everything is being planned. But in post-COVID, if you see, do you see any changes in plans or any alterations because of the new normal that is happening this post-COVID? So if you think of 22, this current decade, starting next year, 2022 and onwards, do you see that the priority areas might change, or there might be some diversion of funds and diversion of efforts from existing activities that Japan and India is planning?
I don't see a big difference, maybe minor ones. I have spoken to many Japanese companies located here in Mumbai, but they plan to restart their businesses as usual, as before, after COVID-19. So that many things will come back as it used to be. There may be some small differences like increase of office work. I mean, telework. Now that we used to do many things online, so probably our activities on online will increase. But apart from all those small changes, that the general direction between two countries, the two countries' cooperation, two countries' economic activities will remain the same. That's my impression.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for the query. We have a few queries on the chat box. So I can see one is from Prachi Bari. So Prachi, would you like to ask your questions directly to Fukahori-san, or do you want me to fill it? Okay, let me read out the question for now. So what Prachi wants to know is COVID-19 hampered any of the existing projects, and will it lengthen its time frame? For example, JICA's project on rivers in Pune.
I think that Japanese companies have tried very hard to stay in India. So that many companies, I think almost all companies have survived so far. And then they have recently restarted their activities. But I heard that some companies like 7-Eleven, which is the retailers, decided to withdraw from India. Actually, they haven't actually opened their businesses yet. They had a plan to open new businesses in India before COVID-19, but experienced the COVID-19 difficulty. They decided not to actually implement their projects in India anymore. So that happened for 7-Eleven. I heard from news today, but there may be some small retreat, but COVID-19 has definitely affected their profits in many ways, but they have not affected much about basic operations.
Okay, thank you very much. I can see Dr. Jagdale has a few questions. So Jagdale ji, would you want to ask these questions directly? So if you unmute and ask the questions.
Thank you, sir, for giving fantastic overview of Japanese activity with India. And I have a few questions. Maybe some it might require some discussion. You can answer later if you wish. You know that because of Chinese dependence, India's dependence on China, especially on electronics, and we are suffering a lot because of shortage of chips and large number of electronic products. It will be good idea that Japan and India comes together and set up large scale electronic manufacturing facility. Now, I'm not saying assembly. I'm talking about manufacturing of the products, basically chips, components, and whatever, and not just an assembly unit. So that's one. India is heavily going into electrical vehicles. Again, you know, large number of electrical vehicles, especially the batteries and motors are coming from China, and we desperately want to be self-reliant on these two aspects. And Japan has got fantastic technologies already developed. And our dream is to convert all our existing vehicles into electrical vehicles by 2030. And Japan could be a fantastic partner for it. There's again very solid roadmap developed by Government of India for what's called a Blue Revolution. And fisheries is an area which is, I would say, not properly regulated in India. Fisheries is not very scientific, and there's a huge scope for increasing fish production by another scientific means and then regular fishing. And Japan has fantastic experience of doing that. And of course, I have been in the area of startups in innovation clusters, and I'll be in your presentation somewhere it was mentioned about startups, and if you could, it will be a good idea to have Indo Japan innovation clusters, greenfield innovation clusters, and which will bring the SMEs from India and Japan together to maybe in specific sectors and create large number of innovation clusters, Indo Japan innovation clusters. I think I'll start with that.
Thank you very much for the questions. I try to answer all the questions if possible. First, that our relation with China. China is not the enemy. We need to be careful about China's military presence, but China is not the enemy. And then we need to contain China. And then China is still important economic partner to India and then to Japan, so that we can't actually deny the economic relation with China. That's one aspect. But at the same time, we cannot actually depend only in China, so that we need to diversify our needs in other countries. In that sense, that cooperation between Japan and India would be important. But anyway, that we need to engage China. That's the important point. And for the cooperation between two countries in the manufacturing side or private sector side, like you mentioned at the electric sector, it's ideal if both countries could work together. But however, both India and Japan is democratic countries, and then companies are free to choose their partners and then choose to do their activities, so that we can't actually force our companies to work together. So what we can do is to install the business environment, which is preferable for both countries to work together. The one problem which may not be a problem, but one difficulty which we are facing in India is that the cooperation among states, when I talked about the high-speed Shinkansen issue between Gujarat and Maharashtra, when the government is controlled by different parties, that the cooperation between two states are sometimes difficult. Then that we cannot expect smooth and efficient work cooperation between over states. Many companies actually complain that when they move their products from Karnataka to Maharashtra, there's a border check, and they take sometimes days to move from goods from Karnataka to Maharashtra, and the same for other ways from Maharashtra to Karnataka and other places. So that that is kind of a problem. In ASEAN countries, there are 10 ASEAN countries, different countries still, but they created the economic bloc, and then they provided the manufacturing network so that the Japanese company can produce engine in Philippines and then manufacture brakes in Thailand, and then bodies in Malaysia, and then they can be assembled in Indonesia. All those networking is possible among 10 ASEAN member countries, even though there are 10 different countries. But while India is just one country, the barriers between states are significantly causing a problem for foreign investors. So that if these type of barriers are removed in India, probably we need a strong leadership in the central government. But Mr. Modi has been doing very well on this issue. And then we'll be able to introduce more Japanese business companies to India. So that's what the Japanese companies are looking for. But so it's up to the private sector. We can't force private sectors to do things. So we need to install business environment which is beneficial for those countries, for companies. That's same for green initiatives and then startups as well. So what we are trying to do is to install business environment. That may be the answer to the question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Fukahori-san. Thank you, Dr. Jagdale. I can see a few more questions coming up. So there's a and then there is. So I have one question from Mr. Ketan. He is asking, with Japan getting its new prime minister recently, any changes foreseen to the India-Japan relationship after the strong Mr. Modi-Abe tenure? I think this is an interesting question. I had this in my mind also.
Yes, I can guarantee that there is no change. There may be small change. I don't know. We still don't know much about his new policies. But since he was the foreign minister under Mr. Abe, and he understands the importance of India to Japan, so basically speaking, that his foreign policy will remain the same. But as a prime minister, he may have some new ideas, but anyway, I can guarantee that most of the policies will remain the same. For one thing, that he is actually from Waseda University. I'm from Waseda, so that we're from same universities, and then I personally feel very happy for him to be a prime minister. So I hope that he can do excellent work, not only internal affairs, but for external affairs in diplomacy as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Fukahori-san, for your answer. So I can see there are a few questions from Mr. Praveen. So Mr. Praveen, please ask Yasukata-san directly your question. But my request will be that keep one question at a time for now, so that everybody gets an opportunity to talk. So Mr. Praveen.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Konnichiwa, Yasukata-san.
こんにちは。
私はプロビンクマルです。 Gogatsugara Venkushimasta Kishu Kuka. Okay.
Right.
So with that broken Japanese after 20 years, I would like to ask you one simple question. The wonderful ODA funds have done a wonderful job in India and its development and sustainability. Now, the fact that most of the Japanese companies, they would like to invest in Indian projects, and there has to be a private company promotion in India. So can you promote a kind of investment banker or agency, Japanese owned completely in India, wherein they can receive all the project proposals of Indian startup companies or Indian companies in renewable energy sector and agriculture sector, so that in every state there is at least 10 billion or minimum means it will be $4 billion business opportunity and investment opportunity for Japanese private companies. Can you try on this?
Yes, thank you very much for the question. At this moment, I'm not aware of the specific project to support the startups in India. But JETRO is located in Mumbai, Ahmedabad, and also in Pune. The JETRO is responsible for such matters. So, and then as a one-stop window for Japanese business and commercial relations, I suggest you to approach JETRO. JETRO will be able to provide some answers to that question. I myself, at this moment, do not have any specific answers.
Sumima-sen, we tried with JETRO and also 2 more organizations in Delhi. And our startup has at least $13 million projects, which are approved by Uttar Pradesh and Uttarakhand and Gujarat governments. So ready for investment. The challenge with the JETRO and even 2 more government organizations is they support Japanese government companies. So therefore, the direct association between Japanese private company and Indian private company is not happening. And therefore, Chinese are taking away the benefits all these years. And European companies are taking away these benefits. Unfortunately, Japan has left behind, even though I love Japan to come to India because I have a social responsibility because Japan had trained me in Yasukata, Kukusai Center. So therefore, despite all the great willingness and great support for Japanese in India, unfortunately, there is no direct private company to private company opportunity wherein we can protect Japanese investments very clearly. So if you can initiate a dialogue on this, probably there are some Japanese investment companies, they are ready to come to India, provided like Invest India channel, but then Invest India itself is a barrier for most of the Japanese investment as seen today. So this is the reason, like ADB.
Thank you very much for the suggestion. Yes, certainly. Yes, certainly I will try to take an initiative. First, I need to consult JETRO and JICA. But JICA has a technical cooperation project, so that JICA may be able to do something on that matter. But anyway, thank you for the suggestion. I understand the importance of the issue. So let me consider what we can do.
Thank you. Arigatou gozaimasu.
Arigatou gozaimasu.
Thank you. So now I think we will take 1 or 2 more questions and then we will close for the day because we're getting closer to the final. So I have one question from Siddhi-san. Siddhi-san, would you like to ask directly?
Yes, please, Siddhi here. Can you hear me? First of all,
Yes,
thank you
we
very
can.
much for your presentation. It will a lot of information. It will help us for understanding what all the things Japan is doing and what all the Japanese companies in India. So coming to my queries, now there are 2 queries. So one query is related to SEPA. India-Japan has a SEPA agreement, that is Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement. But I feel that still most of the companies in India are not benefited with that agreement. So if you can put some lights on this, so this may help us to discuss it, each companies. So wherever it is required for this documents.
Yes, yes, based on the understanding between two countries at the political level, we need to make installation to the platform of a business environment, and then I don't know what we can do in the future, but yes, based on the past agreements between two countries, we try to implement our project as much as possible so that private business can be benefited. But do you have any particular suggestion, particular points which we need to clarify?
See, basically, most of the time we try to get this benefit for Indian, because Japanese company available in India. So for them, if we get some documents from Japan, so which may get benefited to customer, means some tax benefit will be there, which we are currently facing a lot of issues because of that documents we could not get it from Japan. So if you can put your words from your end, so between Japan and India, it may help out both the side to improve each other and benefited to each Japanese stakeholder as well as Indian companies.
Okay. Yeah, thank you very much, Anata. If at this moment, I'm not very much sure about the particular documents type which you are talking about, but if you have any particular program, concrete program, please ask JETO.
Fine. Hi.
Then JETO may be able to provide the documents which you need.
Okay. Hi.
For economic side. Yeah.
Thank you very much. どうもありがとうでした。
どうもありがとう。はい。
すみません。はい。Thank you very much.
So thank you everyone. We are close to 5:30, so now it's time to come to a closure of the program. So I thank Fukahori-san, Dr. Fukahori-san, for your time. It was really nice when we met in person, also today when we are meeting virtually, listening to you. So it's an absolute pleasure being here for this program. I would like to also thank Vanessa-san for helping us to coordinate and arrange with this particular program, and everyone who was attended. Now I request Siddharth-san to say a few words to conclude the event.
Thank you, Abhishek. My really sincere gratitude and thanks to Dr. Fukahori-san. It was really wonderful listening to you, and especially in this transition and difficult time. A lot of information you provided definitely must be useful for all our audience, and your assurance about transitioning government will not affect the India-Japan relationship. I am very much witnessing that firsthand here already. I think new Prime Minister started calling the Quad Prime Ministers and leaders. So he's already indicating the stronger relationship between India and Japan in future also. What I could learn from today's event also, that so there are so many information which I could also learn for the first time. And so I think what we need to do at IJBC is to make sure that we work all the governmental agencies as well as private agencies from both sides of the countries and gather a lot of money information and provide that information to our members and non-members, because at this moment still I feel the biggest problem between India and Japan is a lack of information or a clarity of information, and that's where I think IJBC would like to play a lot of role there, and we would need your cooperation in future also in this regard. And we would like to request you to support us celebrating the special next year between India-Japan relationship, and suggest us also that what kind of programs or what kind of activities we can conduct to benefit the both side of the people and make this relationship more and more stronger. But thank you very much. Today was a well-spent evening with your lecture, and I look forward to see you in person. Thank you.
Thank you much. I look forward to coming to Pune very soon and then see all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
very
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. どうもありがとうございました。
どうもありがとうございました。
すいません。